Hello everybody, this is Havoc with some very important news regarding Total War Saga Troy. In a move absolutely no one expected, Troy will release as an official Epic Game Store exclusive on August 13th, 2020 for its first year and with an expected Steam release summer of 2021. Not only that, but on release in the Epic Store, you can grab it for free in the first 24 hours and keep it for life. With this little tidbit of info now out in the open, I'm going to give a both sides of the fence approach to this news so you have the full picture and scope of this announcement, referring to the FAQ and announcement article released by Creative Assembly. So let's dive into the good and the bad about Total War Saga Troy's Epic Games exclusive. In order for a lot of people watching this to potentially see the good in this announcement, I'm going to kindly ask that you take an unbiased approach to this section and see it through the eyes of Creative Assembly as a business that employs hundreds of employees full-time. You are more than welcome to switch back on for the rest of it. For those that don't know, Epic exclusives come with some very hefty benefits for the developer, usually in the form of production costs paid near 100% or at 100%, lower cut from sales on the part of Epic, meaning more money for the developer in that regard, and on top of that, just large sums of straight up cash. This alone is beneficial enough for most developers to hop on board. Your game is paid for and it guarantees future development. It's just an overall good deal. But for Creative Assembly specifically, the Epic gains are going to open up a lot of opportunities that they would otherwise not be able to get to as quickly or at all. Primarily among that is opening up other platforms, in turn opening the game to tons of people that maybe have never heard of Total War. I understand that Epic money funding more platforms does seem a bit ironic, and while I can't speak to the difficulties of publishing to those multiple platforms, it's clearly something that CA has been trying to achieve and simply could not justify it from a financial standpoint. But at the end of the day, Creative Assembly wants their games to be available to play regardless of your personal choice of where you buy and store your games. The extra Epic money will also go towards funding other internal development projects that, hopefully, will allow Creative Assembly to be more creative and flex the bounds of future Total War games. The second biggest reason is that Epic agreed to pay for the game to be free on release day, as in, if you click the button to get it for free within the first 24 hours of release, it is yours to keep for as long as the Epic Store is around. And considering that this year is Creative Assembly's 20th birthday, that's just sort of icing on top of the birthday cake. And this is pretty extreme for Epic to do, and CA must be getting quite the pot of gold to agree to something like this, even with it being a lesser title. It's an incentive that even critics of the game, myself included for the most part, would be drawn to, since you have nothing to lose monetarily, and I think that's one of the bigger points for a free on-release style launch. Again, from a business standpoint, which is what Creative Assembly is, the Epic deal is a near perfect win-win. It funds projects that couldn't happen internally, potentially launching Total War years ahead in terms of progress, if not development. Anyone who gets the game in the first 24 hours gets to keep it forever, bringing in the masses new and old to Total War to try out a game set in one of the biggest Western history time periods. It's a very smart move. But before I begin this bad section, I want to say this. I personally don't really have a problem with the Epic Store. I use it for several games, including most of the free games they've been releasing this last month or more. Its functionality isn't that great, but overall, I don't think of the Epic Store as a bad juju place. I do understand that a lot of people despise the Epic Store for various reasons, and I will address that. Now with that out of the way, aside from just hating Epic, there are some serious game-altering complications that come with an exclusive launch to the Epic Store. Crossplay is the biggest if you're a multiplayer fan. With Total War Saga Troy being built from the Warhammer engine, it's safe to say that Troy should have some great multiplayer gameplay automatically built in. Now we obviously don't know what multiplayer will be like for the game, the groundwork should be laid pretty solid. However, with no intention to develop crossplay for a multi-platform release post year 1 on Epic, it creates a massive schism in the multiplayer experience, as those who buy it on Steam will not be able to play with Epic players and vice versa. This is a huge mess, especially if Creative Assembly has put any energy whatsoever into the multiplayer side of the game. You are essentially wasting any work you put into it, and any player who's built any sort of experience on Epic has to stay on Epic to maintain its leaderboards, its stats, etc., or just completely start over, paying for another copy on Steam. While CA has no plans currently, I think that if the outcry is loud enough, they'll figure out something within that first year of Epic exclusive. If you're more of a campaign single player only guy, then this will frustrate you just as much. No mod support. Epic does not actively support modding on their platform yet. This is one of the biggest features of any Total War game. Mods have created some basic visuals to complete game overhauls to give you a more intense and engaging experience to Total War, so to be without something as functional as a Steam Workshop support is absolutely killer for Troy. The Troy FAQ states that modding is on trademark Epic's roadmap, yet I can't help but think that that roadmap is hundreds of miles long, with mod support being near the tail end of it. It just doesn't seem like a priority to Epic, as it does not necessarily mean more sales on the part of the consumer. Now that being said, that doesn't mean there will be no mods whatsoever. It'll just be a bit harder to execute without issues. First, there's Nexus mods, which has been very successful for Mount and Blade Bannerlord. Currently has no mod support on Steam either. I can easily see that site being the go-to place for all mods post-release, even once everything opens up on Steam. There's also the old school method of pack files that you would drop in your data folder through the app data route command prompt. I've used that route plenty of times when playing Attila. It's not super quick and simple, but it still does get the job done. So modding support can be there, it's just not officially supported through Steam, and it does get just a little bit complicated. The last quick bit on Epic is the de novo DRM software. I know this is probably one of the bigger deals for people hating the Epic Store, and there is a lot of information one way or the other. I personally don't have much of an opinion on it, so I won't go into it, but I think for the community as a whole, it's still important to state that Troy will be using the de novo DRM software, and whether that makes or breaks the game for you is your own opinion to take. Overall, I think my opinion on the announcement is pretty obvious. From the business side, I do believe this is an incredibly smart move. And for those who still don't think so, think of it this way. The money received from Epic is funding future games as well, whose budgets might now not have to rely directly on sales. And who knows, maybe some games the community have been dying for might now just be feasible. It's entirely possible. But having Troy on the Epic Store does come with some pretty hefty problems, especially for the future of the game and its release on other platforms such as Steam. I'm not happy at all on that front, and I hope that Creative Assembly is right now thinking and working on how to address those big issues. Lastly, for the love of God, no matter your opinion, please do two things on any video in this subject. First, do not take your frustration, anger, rage, insanity out on individual Creative Assembly employees. This is a very unexpected announcement for all of us in the community, but it's not like Grace or Blondie are the ones that made the decision to go to Epic. And it's also not like they hold the power to be able to change the things you don't like. The people that you see on an everyday basis on social media rarely have that power, so taking it out on them does absolutely nothing but makes yourself look foolish. Second, and this is the harder one I know, but be constructive with your criticism. I know for a fact that Creative Assembly looks at channels like mine to see feedback, both from the creator, myself, and the comment section, you guys. It does zero good to just say the game sucks, or that this mechanic is ridiculous, or I think Creative Assembly should die. Creative Assembly can't do anything with that information to make the game better. Instead, explain how you would make it better, or be detailed in why you don't like something in the game. Who knows, maybe they'll see it, and if it's big enough, maybe they'll change it, and then, you know what, your opinion has led for that change. That's just a couple of big things that I want to address, and I know what's on the entire Creative Assembly team mind with such a crazy deal going on Epic. That's all, guys. Thanks for watching, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. This is Havoc. Stay tuned on June 4th on the channel, as we've got some cool things coming that are Total War Saga Troy related. I'll see you in the next one.